And we're back on Loathsome Things, your favorite horror movie podcast.
I love this horror movie podcast.
Oh man, it's the favorite one I do.
Out of all the horror movie podcasts I do, this one is kind of my preferred.
That's right. Oh man. So anyways, my name is John.
That's John.
And with me, as always, my delightful co-host, Joss.
Yes. Thank you, John.
Or Josh. You know, whatever you prefer.
Yeah. Well, with a name like Loathsome Things and Josh, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Well, what the hell are we doing here anyway?
John, today we are watching Matt Mercer and Mike Testin's Dementia Part 2.
Michael Testicles Dementia Part 2.
Yes, Michael Testicles. Good. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And in case you were wondering, when I say Matt Mercer, I'm not referring to the celebrity dungeon master Matt Mercer, but rather the alternate reality grown-up version of Haley Joel Osment Matt Mercer.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. This
you
guy.
know.
Yeah. This
face that has oddly shown up in like I immediately recognized his face, which was weird.
Yeah, I mean, I recognized his face as, you know, if Haley Joel Osment and Tom York had a wonderful baby.
A hate child.
Yes. Whenever I looked at the movies that these people have done before, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen these covers and kept scrolling before.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of these and they're terrible.
Yeah. Oh, Contracted Phase 2. I remember not watching that.
Yeah, it was I didn't watch the second one. I watched the first one, which I wasn't a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
And it was okay. And then I saw Mike Testin also directed the first Dementia film.
Dementia Part 1, not called that.
No, which I saw, and it was okay.
Yeah.
Different kind of movie. This movie has a crazy backstory.
I don't know it.
Well, I forget which dude it was, but he was talking to a buddy of his that ran a film festival, and they were talking about making movies, and the guy that ran the festival basically said to either Matt or Mr. Testicle that
the magical Mr. Testicle.
Yeah, Mr. Testes.
Yeah.
Said if you can make a film like, you know, start to finish and have it ready by the time the festival starts, we'll show it. And that would have been in 5 weeks from when they had the discussion. So they did it. They wrote a script, got actors together, got the cheapest camera they could find, rented the most generic house they could shoot in, or, you know, borrowed it from someone.
Yeah. 1 bottle of Hershey syrup.
1 bottle of Hershey syrup, some contact lenses,
Yeah.
a couple of B-grade actors, and bingo, you've got a 66-minute movie that's kind of okay.
Yeah. 1 exceptionally buoyant fake heart.
It was okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Could you imagine being in a situation where a guy like makes a bet with you, like, hey man, if you can make a movie in 5 weeks, I will play it at a serious film festival, and you can just be like, all right, I can do that because that's what I have around me.
Let me shoot my entire career in the foot and make this semi-Evil Dead-ish comedy horror that kind of goes in too many directions, even in an hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah, like I was surprised. I guess that goes into like the our opinion spoilers, but yeah, like this movie was a little bit longer than it needed to be.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Yeah, it was an hour and 6 minutes long, and it was just like an extended short film.
Yeah, that's actually true.
But I mean, you know, if you're making a movie in 5 weeks, you know, must needs or whatever saying applies.
Yeah, that. I mean, they did, I think they did a good job within the confines of, the limitations.
Yeah, there were definitely moments in this movie where they were shooting for excellence. They're like, oh man, wouldn't it be great if this turned out well?
Let's frame it with really bad actors.
Yeah. This guy looks famous, right? He'll do it. He'll do it. I mean, he's also the creator and director and whatever. So yeah, he'll do it.
I mean, having said that, the centerpiece, of course, of the film is the main female actor, Suzanne Voss, and she does give a great performance.
Yes, you might know her from Lords of Salem, that movie.
That probably means you saw her naked.
Oh God, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. I just scrolled through her IMDb and I was like, I've seen the cover of that movie.
Yeah, it's a stinker.
Is it another zombie robification?
It is, and
Yeah.
it's not. I'm not a huge fan of his, but that's not, and even then, it's not one of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like okay with Rob Zombie stuff. I think he's good for the genre.
Yeah, I think so, and I think he's got a good sense of visual style.
Yes.
I think he's not a great screenwriter. I think it'd be better if he maybe shot someone else's idea.
Yeah, like The Munsters, the movie.
Yeah, that's going to be problematic.
No, it's fine.
I actually thought his Halloween remake was okay, which is weird because I love the original Halloween, and that for so many reasons I should have hated that movie, but I didn't.
If I am recalling correctly, though, isn't your preferred mode of Halloween the 8 more days until variety?
8 more days until Halloween?
Yeah.
The fuck is that?
Halloween, Halloween.
What the fuck is that?
I'm talking about Season of the Witch.
Oh.
The stupid little song that plays on the commercial.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I do like that movie.
Shamrock. Yeah.
I am rather fond of that movie.
Yeah. I believe you found the DVD at a reasonable price at a gas station one time.
Yeah, I got it for $2 at a Valero.
And you were very excited.
I probably got that, my lunch, and an energy drink for like $5.
Conveyor belt hot dog, off-brand energy drink,
package of toilet paper,
Valero style cheese poofs.
$2 movie.
Those were the days.
Oh my God, I do love that movie. It's true. Season of the Witch.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Fantastic. I've not seen very many Rob Zombie movies, including, didn't he do 2 Halloweens?
Yeah, he did. He remade the second one as well, where he really kind of strays from the original formula. I didn't like the second one as much. The first was, I don't know. It was just, both of them are completely over the top, and like he takes the story and kind of zombifies it and makes it, just ridiculous, like cartoonishly gory and, cartoonishly bad acting and all of that. And, he's hit or miss with that. When it works, it's entertaining. And when it doesn't, it's really kind of tedious. And that's how I felt about the second movie.
Yeah. Fun. Maybe we need to visit the Halloweeniverse.
Yeah, we need to watch every single Halloween movie.
Oh my God. That would be a fun challenge, maybe.
Gang bang-o-ween. Wait, what if we were able to get enough screens that we could watch them all at the same time? We'll get really drunk and record ourselves watching them all at the same time.
Oh my God. Oh, we could do like Matrix style video cameras where it's just like you can like bullet time around us as we're watching all of them.
That would be so great.
That's how strokes happen.
That's right.
Yeah. So, Suzanne Voss, actress from Lords of Salem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Lords of Salem the weird cult one where there's like an umbilical cord monster? Is that one? Because I might have seen that one.
It might be. It's the one where the lady, where his wife plays the DJ, and she gets the record from the satanic band, and it
Oh,
it's just dumb.
yeah. That sounds familiar.
Witchcraft and
Yeah.
stuff.
I might have seen that one. I think maybe that might have been the last one that I saw before I like cut out. I was like, 31, maybe not.
Yeah, 31 is terrible.
Yeah. So Dementia Part 2 though.
Yeah.
By
Quality.
Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie's Dementia Part 2.
Yep.
Also features Najara Townsend, who co-starred or was in Contracted Phase 2 with Matt Mercer.
Yeah, she's the lead in it, isn't she?
I don't know. I haven't seen them.
Yeah, I think that's her. And it's like body horror stuff.
Yeah. Ah, okay. I might need to watch it, but maybe not. And then also Graham Skipper is in this, and he is probably most famous for also being in Mike Testin's Dementia.
Graham Skippy.
Yeah, no, when I saw that name, I was like, oh, that's your real name, sir, isn't it?
He's in Almost Human, too.
I don't. Is it the TV show?
No, there's a movie called Almost Human. It's like a kind of sci-fi horror.
More human than human?
Whoa. Oh, he's in Beyond the Gates, too. Wow.
Oh.
And Dementia? Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting because he's a terrible actor.
He is. You know what? I suspended disbelief, and during his little thing, like at the beginning of it, I was like, "Oh yeah, this guy is lovably horrible." But then it just kept going, and I was like, "Okay,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah." I mean, they're all just playing it for camp, I guess. Which that's fine, except that it didn't work. Oh, he's in Wolfman's Got Nards too.
Wait. Do you mean Wolfman's Got Nards as well, or Wolfman's Got Nards 2, the Nardening?
Whoa. Welcome to my Nardmare.
Nard Warriors!
Oh my god.
Wolfie's got Nard.
That's right.
Good.
Yep.
Now, if you're wondering why we're not taking this episode seriously, you might want to go ahead and watch this movie because no one making this movie was taking it seriously either.
No, they obviously had a good time, and they were just. I mean, Jesus. I mean, how much can you do from start to finish in 5 weeks? Apparently, this much.
From what I did read of the movie, it sounds like they finished the sound editing a half hour before they had to be at the airport.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It had to be fun, just kind of, well, I don't know how fun it would have been. That 5 weeks of probably pure panic.
Yeah. just horrible anxiety and self-doubt.
It's like, oh, good. We got Graham to play a character. I've worked with him. He's awesome. And roll camera. Oh my God, he sucks. Yeah, Matt Mercer looks like his headshot here on Google looks like he sings for Styx or something.
Are there more things we need to say about it before we dive right into the spoilers?
No, it's billed as a sequel, but it's not really a sequel in the storytelling sense. It's more like part 2 in a series of films that kind of, they're horror films based around, or maybe a thriller more in the first one, but based around an elderly character that may or may not be suffering from dementia. In the first film, it's a man and he is suffering from it, but in this one, I guess it's debatable if the character's even alive.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Well, I mean, it's right there in the tagline. The stupid tagline, which doesn't really have anything to do with anything.
Wait, what's
Suzanne
the tagline?
Suzanne wasn't always confused. She wasn't always dead either.
Oh, that's nothing to do with this.
I know.
Okay. Good.
This is one of those moments where you flip it around and you go, dude, you had 5 fucking weeks to come up with a better tagline.
Just use a line from the movie. And they're like, we couldn't. They were all terrible.
I just wiped my ass and looked at the toilet paper, and there was a better tagline on that. Zing!
Damn. So go watch it. It is, I will say on my end at least, it is good enough to watch.
It is, and it was fun to watch. I mean, I agree with you. It could have actually, it really just would have functioned much better as a short film. But given the restrictions that they had, I think they pulled it off for the most part. It is entertaining.
Yeah, there was no point at which I was watching this movie and I was like, oh, I wish I wasn't watching this movie. You know, it's good to watch. Go watch it. It's a horror movie. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, these guys know. I mean, it's obvious that these guys know what they're doing. They know how to make a visually compelling film. It's just they had zero budget and no time, and they did the best they could, which actually, considering, was actually pretty cool. Some of the effects are actually pretty decent.
Yeah. I would say that this movie is at least 4 times as good as Intersect.
Yeah,
because these people actually knew how to make a movie.
Yeah, and Suzanne Voss is great. She really was great.
Yep. So go watch it and then come back and listen to us talk about it more, because we're going to spoil it, I guess. I don't know if there's really much to spoil, but yeah. Do that. And now you've watched it. Congratulations. What did you think of it? Just kidding. You don't have a microphone. That's us. John, what happened in this movie?
Burn. One person dies, another is already dead, and maybe a third dies or possibly dead.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about there. Some very confusing phrasing at the end of the movie.
Yeah. It's yeah.
I had that question too.
It's one of the problems with this movie is that the idea is just paper thin.
Mm-hmm.
The movie, it's about this fucking douchebag who's an ex-con.
Yeah.
Who I mean, God only knows what, how he would have done in prison. But anyways, he's an ex-con and he has to find work or else he's going to get dragged back to jail. So he gets work to, he finds a job being a handyman for this crazy old lady whose husband has died.
Yeah, it's like a handyman Uber, basically. Yeah.
So I mean, that's the premise, and then he gets there, and crazy shit happens.
Yep. And somehow, for some reason, Canada is involved.
Canada's involved for a reason that doesn't seem to make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of it. And then the whole entire conceit of the film ultimately makes no goddamn sense.
Nope.
Like, wait, what? So what? What? Okay.
Yeah. No sense made.
No.
At the end, you're left, I wouldn't say with questions, just a general sense of puzzlement.
Yeah, and it tries to be kind of serious at times, and then it tries to be zany.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like Evil Dead-ish with the like
montages,
like funny camera movement, and really, really bad campy humor.
Yeah. This movie definitely has way more jokes than it has real jokes.
Yeah, it's not funny. That's part of the problem.
Occasionally, it's a little funny.
Yeah, I guess so.
But sometimes it's just like, ooh, you didn't test that material out at all, did you? Which no time.
Yeah, some of the sight gags are actually kind of funny. That's true.
Yeah. All right, so this movie opens on a dude writing on a typewriter. He talks about how he tried to kill his wife. He says that his appetite frightens me. We see him put on his Mountie uniform and talk about returning to the land of the beaver and the maple as Hershey's syrup drips out of his mouth and the Star-Spangled Banner plays.
Yeah.
It's very strange. It's also in black and white.
It's also in black and white,
Yeah.
except for
One.
one thing.
Yeah. Two.
Or yeah, two things. We'll get to that, and boy, did it matter.
Yeah, that really, really ties a bow around this whole Canadian Mountie business. Like how he has to return to the land of the beaver. There's a photo of him holding a beaver, but a squirrel.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah. Wouldn't want to rip off Zombievers, that fine
No.
film.
No. Yeah, a film that needs to be referenced as much as possible.
Yes. The film switches to our main character Wendell. He's passed out on a couch near some parole paperwork and a old to-go box full of noodles. The phone rings. His mouth drool is ultra gluey and sticks to the couch cushion as he tries to get up.
Yeah.
And then instead of answering the phone, he just grabs handfuls of old room temperature noodles.
Desiccated noodles.
Yeah. And lets the machine get it while he watches George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, which I was like, yeah.
Copyright-free movie that shows up in every movie that needs a horror film.
Yep. I believe it was also in Gus Halwerda's Intersect.
It's in everything.
Yeah.
It's free. It's free to use, and so you see it in everything.
Maybe we should start an opening. We should have like a soundbite from it for our like opening sequence.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's specifically that really crazy sequence where the little girl starts killing her mom with a trowel, and the screaming gets all weird and echoey.
It's really one of the better parts of the movie.
Yeah. Oh,
whoa.
Okay.
What the hell?
That's called Upstairs Neighbors because apartment dwelling is fantastic.
What the hell are they? Are they emptying the world's largest ice bucket?
No, they seem to have a single piece of indestructible wire furniture that can be used in a World Wrestling Federation fashion.
Wow.
Yes. She's not currently yelling, but she is often dissatisfied with her domestic partner.
Oh, great.
So, welcome, listeners, to my daily life.
Welcome to America, greatest country in the world.
Yes, the downstairs neighbors also smoke weed constantly, so it smells like weed in here.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many floors are there here?
3, and I am the sandwich meat.
Oh, delicious.
Yes. So I'm sure they're like, why is our upstairs neighbor so noisy? And I'm like, why do they smell like weed? Whereas our upstairs neighbors are like, who?
I thought it was thunder. That's crazy.
No, it is. I imagine it's some sort of like wire clothing, like hanging, rolling something. I have no idea.
Okay. Oh, God.
Podcasting, folks. This is what it sounds like.
How much did you pay to hear this? Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Stitcher Premium. He and by he I mean Wendell gets a call the call is from his parole officer telling him to get a job or butthole stuff will happen.
Good old Reggie.
Yeah, this is Reggie. I forget exactly what he says. It's like the tense starfish or something like that.
Yeah. He's a charmer, this one.
Yeah, wonderful man. Won't show up again, except for one phone call somewhere in the middle of the movie, and then shows up in full wonderful glory towards the end.
Regia glory.
Yes. So Wendell gets a job as a Uber handyman, basically, and goes to an old lady's house to work on clogged pipes. Mm-hmm. And he is reminded to don't forget to get the work order signed before you leave. So that's there. Good. I'm surprised it hasn't showed up until now. Normally she's calmer on a nice Sunday afternoon. So he finds the house, knocks on the door. An old lady peeks at him through the window, and then we get opening credits with Dementia Part 2 Explosion.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
meaningless, but cool.
Yeah, with really fun, like, tense horror movie opening credit music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if only the good soundtrack continued.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, pick a soundtrack style.
Yeah. Yeah, for like this moment, I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be one of those movies with a cool soundtrack. Like, that's gonna be why people think this movie's good."
Nope.
Mm-mm.
All the music was used free. It looked like stuff they got off the internet.
He says he's Wendell from Handyman Inc. She lets him in, offers him some, quote, greens tea.
Yeah, Green's tea.
Yeah, and delivers it unto him in what appears to be a salt-rimmed cup.
Yeah, it's a little crusty on the edge there.
Yeah, it looks confusing more than gross, but by his reaction to tasting it, it is gross because he spits it back out, but he politely says it is just hot and not disgusting.
Yeah, it's got bits in it because he's picking them out of his mouth.
Yeah. While she is making the tea, he spends some time looking at the mantelpiece, all the pictures, including a girl's photo taped over a regularly framed photo, and he just basically skips over the crazy squirrel that is fanged with horns and other nonsense.
This just little stuffed fanged squirrel, fanghorn squirrel.
Yeah. Yeah, what is much more interesting is the photo of an old man in a hospital bed.
Which you can't stop looking at.
Yeah, that really draws the eye.
Hey, who's this codger?
We find out that codger was indeed Harold, who left Suzanne a nest egg, which was especially good after the bank crash of Y2K, where those computers killed all those people. Skynet.
Yeah. This is where we realize, oh, here's a shock. Suzanne's a little loopy.
Yeah, Lil not all there. So once she says all that about Y2K and Skynet, his response is, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, all this talk of guns and Y2K and
Yeah.
how Harold got bit by a fucking squirrel. And,
Yeah, and he started hoarding cash and assault rifles.
and then he bit her.
Yeah, and not just that he got bit by a squirrel, he got bit by this squirrel.
Yes, the squirrel that's preserved on the mantelpiece.
Yeah, the taxidermied squirrel with fangs and horns.
The rare fanghorn squirrel.
Yes. Yeah, and that he bit her, and soon after that passed away in his sleep with the barrel of his M16 in his mouth. Just one of those freak accidents.
Yeah.
Yeah. To which he says, he sounds like a great American.
Yeah.
And she freaks out because she doesn't want him to let Harold hear him say that because he's Canadian and a Mountie.
Completely meaningless.
Yeah. I mean, it is recurring. There's lots of Canadian Mountie business, but it has nothing to do with, like, in any meaningful way. It's just there. It's a set piece.
Yeah, it's just some sort of character element or something that really doesn't have any relevance to the story.
It's like they asked themselves, what kind of outfit could a person wear in a black and white movie that is red? Perhaps a Canadian Mountie outfit?
This will perfectly fit with our comedy horror movie about dementia.
Yes. Yeah. Should we perhaps change it to being bit by a squirrel to being bit by a beaver? No.
Nope. Stick with the squirrel, which makes even less sense.
Yes. Okay. We already have the taxidermied squirrel. We're not changing it.
If only we had 6 weeks to make this movie.
We find out that because he was such a rugged man's man, he taught her how to field dress small animals quickly, which I guess comes in handy in her line of work.
The man had his secrets.
Yeah. That's when she shows him Harold's room. He's like, I'd like to get to work. And she takes him into Harold's room where the pile of guns are and also the typewriter from before. And it still has that sheet of paper that we saw him typing up in the feed. What's it called in a typewriter? Spool? I don't know.
Yes, it's a Spulenschwanker.
Yeah, I don't know typewriter words because I never had to.
Last night I tried to kill my wife.
My appetite grows.
That's right.
And then she looks at the typewriter and like blanks completely because dementia.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't understand who Wendell is. And did Harold let you in? And so he's like, I don't think he's here. I believe he passed away. And she gets super pissed out about that. And he's like, I'm here because maybe you have a clogged pipe. And she thinks that is just disgusting and slaps him.
Slaps him. Shame on you.
Yeah. But then she agrees to let him fix all kinds of not pipe-related things around the house. He goes up on a ladder to change light bulbs, and she plays a fun game of turning the lights on and off while he's staring at the light bulbs, and she thinks it's hilarious.
Cackles like a lunatic.
Yeah, he's like, oh, okay, that's good. But you can turn it on. Oh, okay.
And you did it again. It gets funnier each time. And then she gives him, quote unquote, $10.
Yeah, a folded up $100 bill. It's just $10. I can spare that.
So she clearly has no clue how much money she's sitting on.
Yeah, which turns into a montage of him doing every conceivable type of chore around the house while she watches him creepy and keeps tipping him hundos while a weird "This Little Piggy Had None" song plays in the background.
God, it was so dumb.
Yeah, and there's even like a scene, like a close-up on his face while he's wiping sweat off of his brow with a disgusting dirty hand, and it's supposed to be like sexy man stuff happening.
Yeah, they keep showing the clip over and over and like some bad rock video.
Yeah, and she's just like watching him horny from the window.
Ooh. I kept expecting the music to go.
I like that one of the chores that he did for her is he just moves a cinder block from one side of the yard to just under a window.
And I like that one is, I guess the assumption is that he lubed the gate so that it wouldn't squeak, but they don't show that. They just show him opening and closing the gate and looking at her.
Yeah. The same gate that has the little dingly chime that he likes to finger.
The dingly finger chime that they zero in on for no reason.
Yeah, it never comes back. Ooh, dingle chime. It was probably they were filming that earlier. They're like, maybe this will be creepy later.
Dog ear, the dingly chime.
Yeah, and then later they were like, we have no time for the dingly chime or Canada, really. Just go with it. It's fine.
Just leave it in.
Yeah, this was going to be 90 minutes. Uh-oh. So after all of this, he's like sweaty and he's like trying to pull a clog out of the kitchen sink, but then she comes in. And I like that she keeps getting his name wrong. Earlier she called him Wesley. And then she's like, Wilson, have you ever been in love? And that's when she pulls out a little tape recorder and plays Red Sails in the Sunset by the Platters. She says that Harold and her used to dance to this over and over again, and she asks him to dance with her and begins singing the song kind of directly into his face and forces him in close to her and shoves her hand into his ass while they dance.
Yeah, she's completely like clenched on, won't let go. He's trying to get loose, and she won't let him go.
Yeah. He was like dancing with her straight up, and she like pulls his head into her bosom. And he is like twice as tall as her.
And she's like moan singing.
Yeah.
I fell, the red cell.
Yeah. Not quite shoot, what's her face from Honeydew level? Like not quite there, but close.
Right.
Yeah. And so he like even tries to dig her hand out of his ass, but she will not budge.
Nope.
This is what they're doing. And so they continue to dance until the song finishes, and then he like pries himself away and he's like, I really need to get to work. And so he goes into the kitchen and she runs off upstairs crying. So in the kitchen, he finally manages to unclog it by pulling out a gluey wad of gross hair. He pulls it out really slowly and then like plays with it in his hand for a while.
What was it supposed to be? As another squirrel? I couldn't tell.
It's just a gross wad of something. I don't know. It's sticky in the manner that his face drool was whenever he was asleep on the couch.
Yeah, the glue budget apparently was limitless.
Yeah. They went all the way in on goop. And also like the sound on it is good. The sound on the stickiness was good, but also part of the sound was it like being so wet that it's in a perpetual state of drip, but you see no water coming off of it.
Yeah.
It's just a dry, sticky thing that's making the sound of dripping water.
That's right.
And let's see. At this point, she has forgotten him again, but realizes that there's a man in the house, so she comes down with the M16 assault rifle, or whatever you want to call it, gun people, and yells at him to get out while pointing the gun at him.
Yeah, she's like hysterical. Get the fuck out!
Yeah. Intense. He leaves and then remembers after he's outside that his tools and his tool belt and the work order that she hasn't signed is still inside. So he has a whole little thought process about what to do, including, hey, maybe I can break in. Yeah, to the crazy lady with the guns house, I'll just break in.
No problem.
But that doesn't work. So he just waits a second and is like, oh yeah, that's right, dementia. So then he knocks on the door and just introduces himself. She does the little peek through the window thing, invites him in, offers him more greens tea.
Yep. Like he's never been there.
Yeah. And so he goes and puts up to get his tools back and everything. And they do it like an Evil Dead style, like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know why that was there.
Why, yeah, what happened? Why did that suddenly happen?
Yeah, why is this impressive? It doesn't mean anything. No.
Yeah, it didn't fit at all.
Yeah, it was very strange. And then he hears her drop something in the kitchen, goes in there, which this is a thing that keeps happening. He hears her in another room and just goes into that room instead of leaving. This will keep going on. He hears her drop something, goes in, sees that she is her face is covered in blood, and she has dropped a bowl full of raw meat chunks onto the floor.
Yeah, she's just eating cubes of raw meat.
Yeah, like stew cubes. And she says, Harold, I almost didn't recognize you. And so this genius, Wendell, decides to play along. Hey, sweetie, it's me. I just came home on my lunch break to fix the old clog.
And then we get her disgusting flirting.
She's like, you want to fix my pipes, huh?
Which end do you want to fix?
Yeah. In which he immediately panics. He's like, I just need you to sign this new life insurance policy. Yeah, she's like, she wants her pipes fixed first, but you have to figure out which one is clogged. So up until this point, we knew that she was just a little thirsty, but this is whenever the movie goes full-blown Suzanne is horny right now mode.
She can get it.
And she does not stop.
No, she's fantastic.
He gets a call from Reggie, the parole officer, who is verbally abusive and is looking for him. He wants to know where he's working, like the address, and stay there. Don't leave. I'll be right there. So now he can't leave. He has to stick around. And at this point, she got all like pissed off because instead of, doing it, he answered a phone. And she even like we see her like carry off the work order, but then just set it back down. And I thought that that was going to like play somehow into the movie, like where he's going to have to figure out where the work order is and get it
Yeah.
signed. They really like push the work order. Like it seems like it's going to be important, but then it's not.
Yeah, it's so dumb because I mean, she's got dementia. Couldn't he just forge her signature and that would be the end of it?
One would think,
Yeah.
but no. And even like I thought it was maybe it was just the purpose that he went back in, but then he also needed to get his tools, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
He hears her choking upstairs, so he goes upstairs to help, and he finds her puking her guts out like super wretchedly over the side of her bed onto the floor.
Yeah, and then she's laying there with what looks like oatmeal all over her mouth.
Yeah. Which is weird considering she'd just been eating raw meat chunks, but now it's turned into grits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he rolls her over onto her back, and she's not breathing. So he starts doing a really, really sticky mouth to mouth.
It's so disgusting.
Using the same goop as his sleep drool and the hair clog as earlier.
Yeah, he's like putting his fingers in her mouth to clear it of vomit.
Yeah.
And then he puts his mouth on there. That whole part was great. I mean, it was disgusting, but it was great.
And then whenever he pulls his face away, it's just huge, thick strings of goop, like just stretching out between their faces. And then he has to go in and do it again.
Gags, it's so great.
Yeah, he like almost heaves, and then is like, oh well, I guess it's time for chest compressions. To which he goes in for chest compressions, and then she spews blood all over his face.
Yep.
And is now alive again and taking a nap. Fantastic.
So good.
Yeah. At this point, a roller skate waitress comes in.
Yeah. Just comes in with her like Halloween costume of the hot waitress, diner waitress thing or something.
Yeah, like a old school 50s diner waitress. Her name is Sheila, and she doesn't know who he is. He tries to explain. She's skeptical, thinks that maybe he's here to have sex with old ladies, and doesn't really care, so she just leaves.
Yeah, she's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. And then she's like, whatever, I don't care.
Like she's like there's vomit and blood everywhere, but
Yeah. He's like, yeah, she was like choking to death, and she looks over, she's like, it looks like she's just taking a nap.
It's like, no, it really doesn't.
Yeah, no, there's junk everywhere. Just look on that side of the bed.
It's carnage.
Yeah. So she goes downstairs, and then he goes downstairs. She looks at the work order, and she's like, Handyman Inc., that can't be a real name of a business.
Yeah.
And then he starts tripping balls.
Yeah. Is it because he ingested zombie demon juice?
I think it's he got a taste of that sweet mouth sauce. And so now he's getting like, I think the idea is that that's what she's got too. Like, she doesn't have dementia, she has tripping balls.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be.
But I'm not really sure. But
it's not clear.
Yeah, it is not explicit.
Yeah, you just kind of gathered that it's, I mean, obviously he just exchanged fluids with her, so you gotta imagine that's what's going on.
I mean, the only other thing it could be is if it turns out that the greens tea just took exactly this amount of time to kick in.
Yeah.
But that seems less likely.
Yeah.
He's able to hold down the conversation with Sheila for a while, but then starts to drift. Then he takes himself a trippy little walk around the living room where he starts noticing things, and the taxidermied squirrel starts talking to him in a squeaky voice.
Yeah, so dumb.
Yeah, it was weird. And then he goes on a full-blown hallucinatory excursion. Now he's wearing a Mountie costume. He sees Harold in a hospital gown out in a field. He sees a squirrel skittering around in the woods. Harold comes after him with sticky hands to his face, and then Harold rips his own face off.
Yeah, it just starts just peeling it off.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's so clearly latex, but that's okay.
Yeah, it was still a pretty cool shot.
It was a cool shot.
It was a very cool shot, and it was better when they did it in Relic, that movie about dementia, where a person with dementia rips their skin off their face.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's a better movie than this. Go watch Relic.
Oh, and then we get the kind of it's like from a cartoon or something where it shows him screaming, and then over that is like a superimposed image of like a plastic skull or something.
Yeah, that's right. And then he's like in a room that is TV static everywhere.
Yeah.
Videodrome style.
And then all of a sudden he wakes up.
Yep. He comes to Suzanne pronouncing the word psst.
Yeah.
Over and over again from the staircase. We see that her face and chest are covered in blood, and she's saying, "She's not right, that little slut."
That's right. She's trying to get him to come upstairs.
Yeah. She needs help with something, and he's like, "Nah, I gotta go." She's like, "I've given you at least $50.
He's probably got like $1,000.
Yeah. It's like, "You owe me one last thing." And he's like, "Well, that's definitely true."
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, at least that much."
Yeah. I mean, this high alone is worth something.
Yeah.
So he goes upstairs with her. She starts, instead of showing him what needs to be fixed, she tells a story of how she used to dance, and Harold would watch her dance, and we get an interlude of a woman dancing and a Mountie with his face in shadows smoking a cigar watching her dance. We find out that their relationship was the kind of thing that used to be frowned upon, and that kids nowadays probably don't have to worry about keeping that kind of thing secret. He's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Oh, don't be silly." And that's the last we ever hear of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I didn't know what it meant either. It was just a thing.
Yeah. It's
an unexplored avenue, I guess.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was like the kind of thing that would be like a pivotal key facet of why this movie was good.
Yeah, it had that feel to it, and then it just went, that was that.
Yeah, then they just dropped it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is disappointing, because I was like, "Oh, cool, here's a little hook, you know." A lot of what there is to like about this movie is like empathy for her character up until this point. It's humorous how he's like, "Oh no, she wants to have sex with me," but it's also, you know, like touching and sad seeing this human deterioration that she's going through, and then like this seems like a key aspect of it, but then it just goes away.
Yeah. Just saunters on to the next part.
Yeah.
And she wants him to wear the uniform.
That's right. She's got the red Mountie uniform, and it's in great condition, and she wants him to wear it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
"This is where we see it's red, right?"
No. Well, I don't know. You know, we might, but I might not have noticed.
Yeah, I can't remember when we see that it's red the first, like actually red. Oh yeah, because it's when she says, you know, "Sheila, that's slut Sheila, she's not right," and she gets him to come into the room and shows him the uniform on the bed, and it's red. And then then you get this flashback to the "I was a dancer back in the day" stuff. Harold would watch, and you know, you get the whole silhouette thing and stuff, and then we come back to kind of like reality, and she's trying to convince him to wear the uniform.
Yeah. She really wants him to wear it, but he's like, "Nah, let's do this business stuff so I can leave."
He's like, "Nah, fam." Sorry.
Yeah, you know what's important? Family. So it turns out that she needs him to fix whatever it is that's blocking the airflow up in the ceiling. So he climbs up on a ladder, digs around in the ceiling. He finds a gross wig and a box full of money. He's hands the wig down. He's like, "Do you want this box of money?" She's like, "No, leave that there." And then she's like smelling the wig, and she's like, "Oh, it still smells like like Harold's bald head."
That's disgusting.
It is.
It's
So
such a lame like Deus Ex Machina too. It's like what excuse can we give for him seeing the money?
mhm. Yep. And even in this movie that's full of like vomit and later there will be guts and horrible stickiness, I really feel like the fact that it smells like his bald head is the grossest part.
Yeah, that's really disgusting.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable because then now that he's fixed the problem, she's back to the idea of you should put on this costume, and then she just shoves Harold's bald head smelling wig onto Wendell.
And fucking tries to kiss him.
Yeah. Then she goes in for smooches. So while he's trying to fend off her smooches, he rips the wig off, and he's like, "Whoa! Well, would you look at that? It fell right off. Like it's a funny joke."
He's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, she tries to give him more money. It's like, "No, no, no!" And then he storms out.
That's enough.
Yeah, and then instead of just actually leaving, he like closes the door softly behind him, and then notices that he can see Sheila half naked and just stares at her for a while.
Yeah, but he also shows like right the second before that, I think he shows that he feels kind of bad.
Oh, is
Like,
that what it was?
for getting rough with the with the completely insane old lady, but she's busting the move on him and all that, and he just gets a little too rough, I guess. So he feels bad, but then semi naked lady.
Yeah. So he sees her half naked through a crack in the door, and then just stands there and stares at her while she changes clothes, and then she turns around and sees him, gets mad, and he's like, "No, no, but yes, that's what you were doing, you creepo."
Yeah, no, that's not it, but
Yeah.
it is.
I wasn't just staring at you because you're almost naked and I liked to look at it and this old lady got me horny. It wasn't that. So she slams the door and he's like, "Oh, well."
Yeah.
And then he hears weird noises coming from Suzanne's room. We see inside that she's sitting on her bed and just pouring Hershey syrup out of her own face. Then he comes in, she's collapsed on the floor, and he yells, "Damn it, Sheila! Get in here, I need your help." And then we have what to me is one of the worst parts of this movie. He rips the wires out of a lamp, pulls them apart so that you've got two different exposed wires, and holds them, tells Sheila to go check to see if the switch is off. She goes and flips it before he is ready, which electrocutes him.
Yeah, and then it's like this goofy like graphic of like white lines in his eyes or something to look like electricity shooting through.
Yeah, really, really unimpressively. I think it's supposed to be charming, but it's not.
It's not because everything is so flat in this movie. I mean, it's very digital camera looking, and there's no character to the imagery. And then when they try to treat a scene like this, it's like, well, you might as well either do this through stuff like this through the whole movie, or don't do it at all.
Yeah,
because it just doesn't work.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be, I guess, real funny.
And it's also not funny.
Yeah. So yeah, she flips the switch, it electrocutes him, and then it's like he forgot that it happened or something. I don't know. But his plan is that he's going to then take these two wires, put one on either side of Suzanne's skull, and then she's going to flip the switch, and that's going to bring her back to life, which happens.
He jump starts her.
Yeah. Also electrocuting himself again. And it works. And then Sheila's like, "Is she alive?" So he puts his ear down to her face, and she licks his ear, and he's like, "Yep, she's alive."
Yeah, that was gross.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, she's still horny, so still alive. And she's like, "Wow, that's amazing." And then she's like, "Oh, yeah, and something happens to her at dusk." Okay. It's weird. At this point, Reggie knocks at the door. He comes in, is very aggressive, frisks Wendell in front of Sheila. He's mad about driving across town at dawn, to which Wendell replies, "It's 3:30 in the afternoon." Yeah, he's gonna make Wendell pee in a cup.
The whole boner joke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's like, does this type of like acting this way and holding this kind of power make you hard? And he's like, yeah, actually it does. Tell him, Wendell. Tell him that you can feel it right now. He's like, yeah, I can feel it. It's
He's hard.
Yeah, it's great.
That's hilarious. Really funny.
It's so funny. So as Wendell goes upstairs to pee in a cup,
which was whipped out of a fanny pack, by the way.
Yes, he just carries around a fanny pack full of pee cups.
That was actually a pretty nice touch.
Yeah. So as Wendell leaves, Reggie asks Sheila why she's with Wendell. Like, why are you dating a guy like that?
Mm-hmm.
Which is strange because he knows that this is a house where Wendell is going to work.
Yeah.
She says, oh, well, he's nice and he listens, but really it's about his huge dick. And Reggie says that he can respect that, and she finds that disgusting, so she leaves.
It's so weird.
It is the very strange type of discourse that just happened.
Yeah.
I don't know why she was talking about her love of huge dicks to that guy.
It's like, what? They just got all the dick jokes out here in this little section.
Let's do it. And so her brilliant idea is to go upstairs. Wendell is in the bathroom, so she's going to just lean on the other side of the door. He says that he's having a hard time peeing, so she was like, you know what will help you pee? If you have someone talking to you while you try to pee.
Yeah, it's exactly how you stop someone from peeing.
Yes. So they have a whole conversation while he doesn't pee. It's very strange. So she's like confessing that she's conning this lady, that she is just a waitress and that she's got student debt, and she was able to convince this lady that she's her daughter, and she's trying to figure out where all this money is. And it's just uninteresting. Meanwhile, downstairs, Reggie has taken a phone call from, I guess, his wife or whatever, to which she's mad at him because he had sex with the stripper. And he's like, oh, but baby, it didn't mean anything. I love you. I'm fragile. And then he starts looking at the picture with the lady with her own picture pasted over the actual daughter's picture. It's real weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I think him being on the phone and saying that the stripper didn't mean anything and I'm fragile was also supposed to be funny.
Yeah, which I guess.
Okay. Then while Sheila is trying to help Wendell pee, Suzanne comes downstairs and faces Reggie. She's got just blood dripping down her face. She's gurgling. They've put in the contacts so that now she looks like a crazy, white pupiled monster.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts gurgling at Reggie and comes at him with a $100 bill. And he's like, all right. And then she stabs him in the belly, rips upward, aka dressing something in under a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then starts yoinking out his guts.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, it turns out that if you talk to Wendell long enough, eventually he will pee. And even puts the lid on the cup and then is like, "Ugh, there's pee on my hands."
Yeah, that goes nowhere.
Yeah, goes nowhere. Then he flushes the toilet and sees that all of the water that flushes out of the tank is blood.
Mm-hmm.
So he opens up the back tank and finds severed hands and a heart that will not sink.
Yes, a very rubbery heart.
Yes, it just floats all the way on top of the water like magic. And that's when they hear Reggie screaming. So they come downstairs. They see Suzanne eating Reggie.
Mm-hmm.
And Suzanne comes to. She says, "Oh dear, what have I done?" And tries to shove his guts back in. "Sorry," she says. And then she squeezes past them to go upstairs and clean up. They decide that it is time to steal this lady's money and then depart.
Yeah, it's not time to depart. It's time to steal her money and then depart.
Yeah. There and so Sheila's like, "Where is it?" And he's like, "It's up there with that thing." um, and so now it's time for a montage.
My favorite.
Yes. It's a montage of Suzanne doing really fun, like crazy makeup on her face in a vanity mirror.
Mm-hmm.
That's the good part of it. She's just like layering on like batterfuls of just tons of makeup for some reason.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, big old thick globs of lipstick all over the place. That's the fun part. I think the part that's supposed to be fun, though, but isn't, is them weaponing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super Evil Dead style.
Yeah. Like a can of hairspray and a cigarette lighter to make a fire torch that never comes up again.
Yeah, and it's another one of those scenes.
Yeah. And them like having all of these different weapons that they then go on to not use
at all.
Yeah, it's so weird. And then they find chunks of Harold in the fridge, including his head.
Mm-hmm.
And so that mixed with the other body chunks in the toilet just makes me wonder, because we know that Sheila lives there. She even says that she started to look at her weird, so she's been locking her door at night.
Yeah, so does she only have carry out or what?
Bags of chips?
She never opens the refrigerator?
She never goes in the refrigerator, never uses the toilet that guy used. It also doesn't really make it very clear how there was regular water in the toilet before he flushed.
Yeah, that's true.
So she freaks out because there's just been a human head and other body parts in the fridge that she has almost definitely been using for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And she just now notices that the head falls out, and so she soccer balls it over to the corner. And at this point, Wendell says, "Wait, I have an idea." And then instead of doing a montage of that, it just switches. He pulls out the tape player that he found somewhere, plays the song "Red Sails in the Sunset," and she hears it from upstairs and does a really, really cool, descending, looking for the music while having her crazy contacts and makeup in. And it's great. It's pretty good. This is a good part. She comes downstairs, and we see that he's dressed in full Harold cosplay with the red Mountie uniform and the wig and the hat.
You see that it's red, it's color. You can see the color now.
Yep. And he's holding out a bouquet of flowers, which you can see a little bit of yellow on the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that pops through the black and white. It's really good. And she's like moving towards him, reaching for him. She's like so out of her mind happy. And then the tape player breaks and she goes nuts and attacks him.
Yeah, and she sees the head also. She sees Harold's head.
Yeah, sees Harold's head in the corner. He pulls out a monkey wrench and tries to wallop her, but she's too good. And
she's got that demon yell.
Yeah. Wait, is this it? Is that where the dead thing, did electrocuting her make her full monster?
I have no idea what made her full monster.
Because I
didn't understand it.
She was all Edie. I don't know.
Yeah, she just when she realizes she's been duped, then she does that weird demonic yell.
Yeah.
And then they start struggling. He's got that gigantic monkey wrench.
Yeah. I don't know. But at this point, the M16 comes into play because Sheila, on full automatic, shoots Suzanne a bunch of times, even though she's right next to Wendell. All of the bullets hit Suzanne. None of them go and hit Wendell, and they have succeeded.
Yeah, they've killed her.
Yep.
or stopped her or whatever.
Yep. And her big one-liner after shooting Suzanne is, "Let's get that fucking money." End of movie, basically.
Yeah.
We get the super always fun and great captions with the photo at the end of how they went on to live the rest of their lives.
Yeah, the old trading places, where are they now kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. We find out that Sheila used her money to move away from where she lived, which ended up being she moved to Cardiff, Wales, and works at a 50s Americana diner.
Yeah, and she traveled around the world.
Yeah.
Romania, Qatar, and London.
Yeah. Which I don't know if like her working at a 50s Americana diner in Cardiff is that supposed to be some sort of like just desserts or something?
I don't know. I didn't get that.
Yeah, is it supposed to be a happy ending?
Yeah, and then the line where she typically recommends the potato skins.
Yeah. Great.
And you can hear the national anthem playing again.
Yeah, the Star Spangled Banner is playing again, which I feel like there is no reason not to play "O Canada."
Yeah.
It would have been funnier. It would have almost made the Mountie angle make more sense.
Yeah, it would have at least gone with the theme.
Yeah, even in the room with all of the guns and the typewriter in his costume, there's a giant Canadian flag hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, there's one in the window, right? Like,
Yeah, maybe window, not ceiling. I don't know. But yeah, doesn't make any sense. We find out that Wendell used his money to buy a new identity for himself, but it was a trick identity that belonged to someone wanted for shit, like, what was it, prostitution or something?
Yeah, prostitution and
solicitation.
Something else. Solicitation, that's it.
Yeah. And he is now serving 6 to 10 years in what I assume they find to be the funniest of all prisons, Sing Sing.
Sing Sing.
And he answers to Wendy.
Answers to the name Wendy.
Yeah.
Oh, how funny.
So funny. That was what Reggie called him. Reggie always called him Wendy. It's very funny because Reggie also made that butthole joke earlier. We find out that here it is. Reggie was found 3 weeks later by a common burglar. Quote, he died shortly thereafter.
Okay. So wait, he laid on the floor for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Disemboweled?
Yeah. Either Reggie died 3 weeks after being found by the burglar, or the burglar died.
Maybe that's what they meant.
Maybe.
But who knows?
I don't know. And then we find out that Suzanne was never found, but the new tenants of her house hear red sails at the sunset coming from the attic sometimes.
Again, makes no fucking sense.
No, it doesn't.
So what's that mean? She's possibly still alive and playing cassettes hiding in the attic?
Yeah.
Why?
And how would they not see her or get eaten?
Yeah.
Unless she is a ghost that just very poorly sings Red Sails at the Sunset.
Yeah. I don't know. That made no sense.
Maybe that's when she's dead.
Yeah.
Like the tagline.
Then we get the full credit sequence.
Yep.
With like Stranger Things 80s synth music.
Mm-hmm.
That had no relevance to anything.
Yeah.
It wasn't that kind of movie. It wasn't stylized like that. It wasn't a genre film.
Nope.
They just played that kind of like popular synthy horror movie music that shows up in everything.
Yep.
So I didn't get that. That was weird.
I didn't either. But I mean, we know the last thing they did was the sound mixing. Maybe they're like, I don't know, just slap it on there. Here,
it's free.
Let me get my keyboard out.
Yeah.
I'm like John Carpenter, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So that was that.
That was that. And I'm a little bit baffled as to what exactly was going on. I guess it was supposed to be some sort of like a zombie thing.
Yeah, like the squirrel had I don't
Fang
know.
horns?
Yeah. So it was like a demon squirrel, and that bit Harold, and then Harold thirsted for human blood or hungered for human skin, and then he bit her, and she got it after probably killing Harold,
Yeah.
or he did
Like
kill himself.
he killed himself because had some idea what was happening to him, but she
Yeah.
didn't because she actually was suffering from dementia.
And part of the demon squirrel curse is being high as balls
Yeah,
and
sure.
super horny.
Yeah.
Or
So there you
was it
yeah.
just that she was always horny?
She just happened to be a super horny lady.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Not really.
No.
I mean, they only had an hour. Wait, well, how could they make so many misdirections?
I don't know. Red sunset herrings.
I mean, so it's weird because it's cool that they were able to pull it off, but at the same time, they didn't really pull it off.
Yeah. No.
They made it. I mean, they completed the project.
Yep.
It has some strengths,
It
but
is a movie.
it's a movie, but it's a bit of a bungled mess.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is really messy. I'm trying to draw parallels. I'm like, okay, maybe Red sails in the sunset is because he wears his red Mountie uniform.
Yeah, I mean there were some ideas that were floating around there. I think the problem was that it maybe they had I don't know, maybe they realized that it was just going to take too long to flesh that out, and so they just kind of left it as subtext and let the action kind of speak for itself. I mean, I think they got a little lost.
Yeah. I mean, that's like part of writing is the shitty first draft, and so you just like leave stuff in and then see if you can make it all connect later. And I feel like that's probably what they did here, but then they just didn't have enough time to connect the dots. They ran out of time, but then they also didn't have enough footage to not include the crazy business that didn't get connected.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, to be fair, I mean 5 weeks is a really fast turnaround,
Yeah.
especially considering that it wasn't an idea that anybody was thinking about. It wasn't, it was like, hey, you should do this, and 5 weeks later they did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
From start to finish with a cool cover.
Yep.
The artwork is cool. It had some interesting makeup effects. They pulled a group of actors that they've worked with before on other projects,
Yep.
so they kind of had access to these folks. They got one gem, like some one diamond, basically. Like Suzanne Voss is great.
Yep.
She's funny, and she's pretty. She's very good at making you feel uncomfortable, and as an actress, she's up for anything.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, she's the sticky ooey glue that held this movie together emotionally.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, I would say, I'm like, I mean, I would say it's worth watching, but I would definitely say it's worth watching to see her performance.
Yeah. Yeah, not so much science fiction version of Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah. The rest of the movie is one of those is basically like a long version of one of those shitty short horror films that you see on YouTube where you're like, that one wasn't very good.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see this like being cut and maybe shooting a few extra scenes and it being a stellar 25-minute short film.
Yeah, they've got some cool ideas in there, and it really could have been a lot better.
Yeah, it could have been.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
it's just.
I mean, like with the constraints they had, it's fantastic. Like putting something together like that is just impossible.
Yeah, I mean, if it was left to me, this movie would be so much worse.
Yeah, they had like I don't remember the timeline, but what is that? Like they had like 1/3 the amount of days to shoot this as Spider Baby.
God, that's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're not gonna get a a Lon Chaney Jr. masterpiece from this.
No, no, you're gonna get a little quick genre romp,
Yeah,
comedy genre romp.
yeah. But I mean, for what it was good. It's definitely worth watching. I gave this movie a 2 out of 5 whatevers.
Yeah, I gave it a 2.5, and the half was just just because I felt like it sounded nicer to put that half in there. I didn't want to I didn't want to slag it or anything like that, but I mean, obviously we talk a lot of shit, but
Yeah,
it's impressive for what it is as far as an accomplishment. But as far as a film, it in and of itself, it's not a great movie. It's entertaining, but it's not great.
yeah, yeah. It's fun enough to watch. I watched it twice. I didn't hate watching it the second time.
Yeah, yeah.
So
The length, even though like you had mentioned, it felt a little like it could have been shorter. It's still only an hour basically, which is pretty easy.
yeah, yeah. I think the actual like movie that you have to watch part is maybe even a little bit less than an hour once you take all
Yeah,
the credits and shit out.
yeah. That's true.
So yeah, like good job. What's your names? Matt Mercer and Mike Testicle.
Hmm.
You did it. You got it, and it's pretty impressive that you did it that way. It's not a masterpiece, but it's fun and worth watching.
Yeah, I'm
And
glad they made it, and I'm glad I got to see it.
yeah. Thank you. Um,
The
and
trailer, I thought the trailer was really good. The trailer really kind of set it up to be more bonkers with the, just like it seemed like a movie that just would like devolve into complete mayhem, which it kind of does, but there's always that detached kind of, we're shooting this with a video camera look to it that just takes any of the heaviness out of it.
yeah, there were points where it felt like it was gonna do that, where it was just gonna like bounce off the wall and be crazy, but it didn't do it. Like the best it
Yeah.
did was like for a second instead of like really just going for it.
Yeah, I guess, and there were and then there's a lot of questions for a movie that really isn't telling too much of a story. There shouldn't be that many questions, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the Canadian, in fact, the whole Canadian Mountie thing was completely irrelevant.
It was just there so they could pop out that red shirt.
Yeah, I guess so. And then why the red? Why a flash of real color?
Well, I feel like this movie was very homage-y, you know?
Yeah,
But even then, if you're gonna do the Canadian angle, why not like go for it? Why not have "O Canada" playing as the song?
and a beaver, not a fucking squirrel.
Yeah. Like they just glued 4 bits of plastic to a taxidermy squirrel. I mean, maybe they didn't have the budget for a beaver. Maybe beavers are significantly more expensive than squirrels when it comes to taxidermy. But like they didn't put like that much effort. I don't know anything about taxidermy. I'm just talking out of my ass. Maybe it's real hard to glue 4 things to a taxidermied squirrel.
They could have put they could have set it in Canada, and then it wouldn't have really mattered so much the Mountie thing. It would have just been a Canada thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was set in Los Angeles, and so that didn't make any sense. So they could have ditched the whole Canada thing and just had him, been a cop or something, because that was just his job, and he got bit by a squirrel.
Yeah.
If it was in Canada, it could have been a beaver, blah, blah, blah. Again, it wouldn't have really mattered. It just would have been some color.
Yeah.
But instead, they picked two different things, two different settings with no real backstory as to why you have those two different settings, and just mashed them together for no reason.
Yeah. I guess it wouldn't have made sense if it was set in Canada for Reggie to be such an asshole.
Yeah.
Like maybe parole officers in Canada are just nice. I don't know. I think part of it was they were like, we need more humor in here. What's funny? You know what's funny? People think Canada's funny. What if we put in some Canada? And then they were like, can we use "Oh Canada"? And Canada was like, no, you can't use "Oh Canada." And they're like, oh shit. I guess we'll use a a really marching band style Star Spangled Banner, and people will think it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, they really play up the Canada thing right at the beginning, and then it just keeps coming up, but it just has no relevance, and it didn't have anything to do with the story, really.
Yeah. And the squirrel and beaver thing, that one really bothers me. Part of that I don't think we mentioned is that when she was talking about like Y2K and hoarding guns, she was like, I always told him to be careful out there. And she talked about how the community is changing. And then part like her conclusion of all of that was one time he got bit by this squirrel.
Hmm.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And was that in Canada that it happened, or was that here? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. And why did he die at all? Did he kill himself? And if he did, why?
Yeah.
And then why didn't she kill herself? If since apparently there's no explanation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, why does shooting her in the back immediately kill her if she's already dead?
Yeah.
Didn't get that either.
I guess it might have just stunned her. She was prone to bouts of unconsciousness.
That's true. She did semi-die many times.
Yeah. How does she like have his chopped up body and shit?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. How, how is there just like a heart and hands at the fucking toilet? Like, and no one smell it?
I guess the idea is that he killed himself because he didn't want to eat his wife, because that's what the letter is about.
Yeah.
But then, but she certainly had no problems eating him,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever she did. She could have just buried him. Like, why? Why dismember him and stuff him in the toilet and fridge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does seem, yeah, like she was almost definitely eating him. The fridge is where she went for, chunks of stuff.
Yeah, some kind of meat.
Yeah. So John, what if people watch this and they're like, oh man, I mean this was okay, I guess, but I really want to watch a good horror movie. Maybe John could recommend a good horror movie that's like Dementia Part 2 adjacent. What would you recommend they watch instead? Or in addition to?
In addition to this?
Yeah. Like a palate cleanser after Dementia Part 2.
I would watch Evil Dead Part 2.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Or the movie Karma. Have you ever heard of that movie? It's not even really a horror film.
I did not.
It's a movie. It's just shot in Texas? I think it might have even been shot in Houston, but it's like a micro budget film. And this guy, it centers around this family that's getting together for Thanksgiving, and one of the family members is this aging woman who she's got like a mental and emotional problems, and she's coming back to visit with the family, and I forget the circumstances, but she's clearly disturbed, and it just kind of you're just kind of seeing these emotions that her acting performance is really great. It's a much better portrayal of an aging human, and because it's more poignant, even though it's probably had about the same budget as this movie, her performance is so strong that it works. It's actually pretty intense. I mean, in a way, it almost kind of is a horror movie, just because the portrayal of her struggling emotionally is in light of this family that's pretty well to do, and they don't really want her there, and her son is there, but he doesn't want to have anything to do with her, so it's really awkward and uncomfortable. And she insists on cooking the turkey, which becomes this total disaster and all this stuff. So there's a lot of tension, and her performance is great.
Wow. Okay, I'll have to check that out. There are like 1,000 movies called Karma, though, so I'll have to ask you later which one it is.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd like to recommend. I've already mentioned Relic. That is Natalie Erica James's Relic, starring Robin Nevin, Emily Mortimer, and Bella Heathcote. It is a horror movie about dementia, but also about like human struggle and generational femininity. Not femininity. Words, you go watch it. It's fine. You'll like it probably. Also, The Taking of Deborah Logan.
Oh yeah, that would be
Yeah.
that's a good one. There, you know what I just thought of?
Hmm.
There's the M Night Shyamalama Ding Dong movie, the one about the kids who go to visit their grandparents who turn out to not be their grandparents or whatever.
Oh, is this the brand new one?
No, not
Oh,
old. This is
okay.
yeah. It's I forget what it's called. It kind of was under the radar, but it was actually pretty good.
Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Sure, why
Yeah.
not?
I don't
Maybe
know.
the woman's name is Karma. I can't remember. It's a that was a good movie though, but yeah,
Wait, what are you talking about?
I'm thinking of the Karma movie. Like I'm trying to look it up.
Oh, okay. So you're not talking about the M. Night movie.
No, I'm jumping around. You know?
Okay. So let's
Yeah.
see. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know this M. Night Shyamalan movie you're talking about, except
I
Old.
think it was the. Is it the one that he did? What did he do before Old? Was it? Has it been a while since he's made one? Because if so, it might be that one.
There was Split and Glass. Oh, are you talking about The Visit?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know The Visit.
It's actually pretty. I thought it was pretty disturbing at times.
Oh, and it has Catherine Hahn in it. Yay! Internet's favorite.
Yeah, she's great.
A single mother sends her 2 young children to visit their grandparents on a remote Pennsylvania farm for a week-long trip, but the children discover that the elderly couple is involved in deeply disturbing activity, and the youngsters' chances of getting back home look less and less likely with every minute that passes.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
It's actually pretty good.
And it turns out it was about hope or something. Oh no, the Earth. No, I'll have to check that out. That looks interesting.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, go watch movies, people.
Right?
So yeah, did you find what you were talking about with Karma?
No, it just pulls up all these Bollywood movies.
Yep. Oh man, I bet there's some probably some pretty good Bollywood horror movies with like song and dance numbers.
I bet there are. I wouldn't even begin to know where to look, but I bet there are.
I bet we can find one, and I bet we can review one, and I bet we can make total asses of ourselves doing it.
Oh, that would be great.
Like, I don't know. The dresses look nice. I don't know. And do you have any final notes for the nice people, John?
I can't think of anything. As always, please don't be shy. Get in touch if you want to talk movies or ask us questions or insult us or, whatever floats your boat there.
Any other sort of thing, you can reach us on Twitter and Instagram at Loathsome Pod or Facebook at Loathsome Things. And since you're already listening to us on this here pod catcher, if you will, you might see if there's a way that you can leave us a rating and a review somewhere between 1 and 5 stars and tell other people about us, whether we are good or bad, just to let them know whether or not they should listen to us.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
So gentle. And go listen to Red Sails in the Sunset by the Platters. It's not a bad song.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Okay.
And the movie's called Krisha. Krisha.
Okay.
Her name is Krisha Fairchild, and she plays a character by the same, has the same name, Krisha.
Krisha, the 2015 film Krisha.
Yeah, and it's great.
Drama comedy. Director Trey Edwards Schultz.
Yeah, it's shot like up in Spring, like in that city, Houston, that we sometimes visit.
Oh yeah, up in Spring.
Well, I mean, when you're in Central America,
yeah. Belize is nice this time of year.
Oh, it's so nice.
Get away from the heat where we don't originate from, which is not Texas.
Yeah, the icy cool Belize.
What is it? The Great White North of Belize.
Grab a parka.
Yeah, it's so cool here. All right, people. Thank you for listening to us talk about Rob Zombie and Belize and other movies, and also, I guess, Dementia Part 2.
Sure, why not?
Come back in 2 weeks when we review a different movie. That'll be fun. And this was
Yes.
fun. Yes.
Yeah. All the
We're
things.
we're both very good at bringing a podcast to a close.
Keep in touch and cheers.